Hello, and welcome to another edition of Speak Your Piece with Monty Q. I am your host, Monty Q. Today's subject, let's talk about how blood don't make you family. And I know it's going to throw a lot of people off. They're like, hey, genetically it does. But that's a saying that's been in our generation, in our culture for centuries, that blood don't make you family. Let's talk about the connection between family and values and principles and understandings and respect and honesty and betrayal. And we're going to go through the whole gambit. Oftentimes, as we are family, we expect certain things and certain aspects of our understandings that respect is always given to the elders. Honesty is always expected out of those, even those who lie. Trust is always given, but just because you share blood. And the principles of responsibilities don't always fall to the right place because you're related. Um, the aspects of this, oftentimes with our children, we tell them that the principles of right and wrong are absolute, but yet as a parent, we are often seen doing or saying the wrong thing. It becomes a sort of oxymoron when you're telling somebody not to do wrong, but you yourself are doing wrong. You're telling them not to become something, but you yourself have became that. You're telling them not to act on something, you yourself have already done it. You get where I'm going with this? Excuse me. And the understanding that how family is supposed to be so tight woven, but yet some of us are so dysfunctional. Like some of us are widely dysfunctional, tremendous, extremely dysfunctional, and we live in that dysfunction. And often that dysfunction becomes a part of our personality traits, which we pass down to other people, including our siblings, including our loved ones, including our children. But yet, when all hell breaks loose, we are expecting to be understanding because we share blood, because we share DNA. Some people are like, whoop-de-doo, so what? I know sometimes you see from the outside looking in that everything looks so well put together, but it's not. That reality is just a far-fetched sort of solution to trying to keep up appearances. Let's be honest with that for a minute. We spend, let me say this, out of percentages, I think we spend at least 70% of our lives trying to keep up appearances so that the majority of the general populace doesn't judge us. God forbid we be held accountable for everything we say, do, or act on, or even subsequently hurt. Like, if I'm going to touch base, or even, let's see, pluck a nerve. Like, so when certain family members do certain things that are so heinous, we'll hide behind it. We won't say anything. As long as we don't discuss it, it's never there. It's never, but the big elephant sitting in the room wearing a suit. That one family member that's so far past, help or assistance, but yet we still try to push a narrative that they can be redeemed. Maybe they're just innately evil. You never know. Maybe they just innately just can't learn, or maybe they just don't want to. Change is something in a person, regardless if they relate to it or not. That's something they would have to want to do. God forbid that you act to do something right and be held accountable, and then subsequently own up to it to the point of ridiculousness. I mean, sometimes we'll sit back and not talk to each other for years. Years, I tell you. And then suddenly, oh, boom, something happens, somebody dies, or relatives in the hospital. Suddenly, we want to show up in droves. What happened to all the other days of the year? When you had that chance to make that phone call, when you had that chance, to reassemble that bridge instead of burning it down constantly, when you had that chance to have that conversation that should have been had 10, 20, 30 years ago, when you had the chance to bring about that apology that person been waiting for 20 to 35 years, when you had the chance to say it, what happened then? Oftentimes, apologies and actions and woulda, coulda, shouldas get buried in the ground. That's it. There's no more going back for that. Living with the regret and dying with the regret. That dysfunctionality amongst our culture is constantly being passed down. When are we going to learn that we have to at least communicate this to one another? When are we going to learn that constantly keeping things on the low so that appearances seem great, it's not always the right thing to do. Appearances are nothing. Stop worrying about trying to keep up with the Joneses or trying to make everything look so great that you are making yourself seem like you're infallible. You're not. None of us are implausible. Let's be real about that. And I think that when we hide behind all of these excuses and all of these measures, it's ego. It's complete ego. Let's put that out there for a second. We are so hell-bent on trying to be this overwhelming, seamless perfection that exists. I mean, it doesn't exist for one thing. But ultimately, the truth will come out later. And then when it does, it comes out embarrassingly wrong and terrible. And then the whole family's like taken aback and, oh my God. It's been there the whole time. Every family is not perfect. Every family is not without fault. Every family is not without skeletons in their closet. Every family has big, dark, sad, disgusting, terrible secrets. Come on now. I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong for saying that? This is something that we live with every single time, and it's getting passed down like generational trauma. We are the ones who keep generational trauma perpetuated because we can't admit to ourselves when we are deep, deep in fault and it needs correcting or needs to be alleviated, and it needs to subsequently be buried finally. It needs to be resolved. You can't absolve your sins if you continue to pile them up. And I think a lot of times, we as a culture, we are so much trying to be better than the next. But we still ignore the reality of what we are not. We are not innately perfect. We're not. And when we figure that out, we can become better. We can unify better. We can be greater. And we can pass down more than just trauma to the next generation. This has been your host, Ronnie Q. Thank y'all for listening. Like, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Y'all be cool.